All right, cool. So we're gonna rock and roll.
You ready?
Off we go, man.
Give a clap.
Go ahead. You start this. You're crazy.
Hey everybody, it's Rob Ridley from National Fire Radio.
Hey guys, Jeremy.
And Tucker.
We got a special guest tonight, Bobby Eckert from Camden Fire.
Captain.
Captain.
Engine company number uno. City of Camden.
Yes.
Yes. Uno is one, Rob.
My Vietnamese is weak nowadays.
Yeah, I got it.
Language you're talking.
So
That's good. Anyway, brother.
yeah,
We're bilingual now.
it's great to have you here in the studio. It was awesome to see you down in Surf City. It was Surf City that we were at. I got confused with all the cities.
It was. So
Beach Week.
Yeah, Beach Week. National Fire Radio Beach Week, right? Real quick story. I reached out to Rob, right? So I saw you. So Bobby Eckert has fantastic Instagram page where he does his Tactical Tuesdays.
I do.
And so on. So all his experience in Camden, New Jersey, which we'll talk about. There's a lot of people that probably aren't familiar with Camden, and we'll talk about that. It's quite a unique city, heavy fire load, busy department. Bobby goes out and does lectures and talks about grit firefighting, real firefighting.
Indeed.
Yeah, and so the opportunity came up where I saw Bobby was doing a lecture, and I called Rob at a Clear Blue, and I'm like, hey, you live an hour north into New York State, and I live in, northern New Jersey. Let's drive 2.5 hours down to the shore.
Makes sense.
To go see this guy from Camden.
Pay tolls.
Yeah, right. Pay tolls back and forth, the whole nine
On the
yards,
way
right?
home, he's like, "Man, you got like an hour and a half after this 2-hour drive." I'm like, "Yeah,
Nap time.
it's worth it.
Exactly.
It's all good."
So we drive down to the Jersey Shore, fist pump to the Jersey Shore, and we sit through your class, and we introduced ourselves to you there, and I have to tell you, I've sat through a lot of lectures in my years, and I enjoyed it because it was real, and there wasn't a lot of fluff. So I thank you for that. But I think that goes to your character and the type of fireman you are, and that's I think exactly why we wanted you here tonight. So I thank you for joining us. So Rob obliged. We went down there and we had a great time, and we ended up meeting the brothers in Surf City and got to meet them and look at some of their equipment. So it was a fantastic opportunity for us. So it was good.
One of the, I think, defining moments in my personal relationship where Molly realized that if I say I'm going to be back by 10 o'clock,
No, it doesn't happen.
nah, she's like,
Don't give her a time. That's what
10,
you got
10
to do.
o'clock plus 6, all right.
Yeah, don't give her a time.
Open-ended. There you
When
go.
you give a time, you're held to it. Remember that.
That's true. So, but anyway, Bobby, thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me. You have no idea what it means to me to be here. So.
Cool. Let's just get into a story and then talk
Yeah.
about fires. What do you want to do?
Let's start it. How did you get started in firefighting? You said you were an explorer, right?
So my dad was a fireman. He was the career chief in Collingswood and a career fireman there for 33 years. And my earliest memories are going to the firehouse. And my dad working and my mom taking me there. When my dad, before he was chief, he was on night works. They would do 6 nights in a row. 6 day works, 6 day works, a day off, 6 night works, 3 days off. And I would go see my dad, and it was my dad's job. I didn't really know any different, and I was an only child. And my mom, I have a stepsister and stepbrothers, but I was my parents' only child, so I didn't really know. My mom was 43 when she had me, so I guess I might have been a whoops. I don't know. I get asked them, but. I went to the firehouse, and I kind of figured growing up that's probably what I would be, but I don't know. And my mom worked for the Camden County Sheriff's Department in Camden at the county seat, and my dad went to pick her up one day, and I saw a slime green snorkel drive past me, lights and sirens, and I was like, wow, that looks like Ghostbusters Slimer.
You did say slime green.
Slime
I
green.
thought he did say that.
If I'm the president of the fire service, all rigs are slime green. And I was kind of hooked there, and I wanted to know a little more about Camden, and my dad would drive me around, show me some things, and that was pretty much it. I thought, I don't know, I want to be like my dad, because that's what most boys want to be, like their father, and that was the progression of life took me. I said, I'll probably be a fireman, I don't know. And Collingswood started a fire explorer post when I was 14, and you had to apply, and I went to it, and reluctantly a little bit. I wasn't, excited about it or enthralled, and I went, interviewed, I got on the explorer post, and I got bit by the bug.
Yeah.
And that was it. And but I always had this weird obsession with Camden, to the point where when I was before that, there was a Radio Shack on the edge of Collingswood and Camden border. Collingswood borders Camden. I would go to the Radio Shack and go inside and program 153.770 megahertz to their scanner the Camden Dispatch, and I would ride my bike into Camden, where Engine 7 was the busiest suppression in the city. That's their local, and I would ride my bike in there 10, 11, 12 years old, just buffing fires. Because I would tell my parents I was someplace else, I would lie to them, and I would go there, and that's what I would do. I had my bike stolen a couple times.
I was just gonna say, because like, I have heard some things about Camden, and it doesn't seem like a place that I would have survived if I was 14 years old riding my bike around.
Camden is a depressed city. It's actually on the up and up. It's actually refreshing to see, but it is it does have a history of a lot of fire duty.
Yeah.
And I was obsessed with them slime green rigs, and I just wanted to see them. And Engine 7 happened to be the closest one, and I was like, I want to work there one day. And I never really put too much thought in it. I was a kid, and that's what I would do when I was alone, because I was an only child. And I became a fire explorer, and it just went from there. I joined the volunteer firehouse when I was 18, because you go to the volunteer fire company. My dad was a life member. It was very cool to do that. And when I was 19, Collingswood, they have a career staff. They started in 1927. They always had 9 or 10 guys. And they took over the ambulance in 2002. And they hired 7 guys. And I had the opportunity at 19 to be one of those guys.
Wow.
And
That's cool. 19 years old.
19 years old.
That was
Year, 2002.
2002, okay.
Yeah, right out of high school. Pretty much.
Yeah.
I worked for the Public Works. I worked for the Public Works Department. I feel like every fireman worked for the Public Works Department at one.
It's a common theme.
It was the greatest job I ever had other than the Camden Fire Department. I met a lot of interesting people, and I learned a lot of interesting things. Not about public works.
Yeah.
And,
Gotcha.
And but I worked there, and my goal always was kind of Camden, and the residency thing is tough. You got to live there, and I know a lot of guys from the suburbs that would move in who will only use the address and not get hired. And I figured if I'm going to do it, I'm going to put all my eggs in one basket. Over the advice of a lot of people, if I had $1, somebody told me I wouldn't be a Camden fireman, I wouldn't need to be here. I would own a yacht or something.
Mm-hmm.
And usually when people tell me I can't do things, I go and do
It's game time.
Yeah. So I bought a house, and I moved in there, and it worked out for me. I live with my best friend. His name's Andy Stas Deshesky. He actually died of cancer when he was 23 years old. He was on the career staff at Collingswood too. And he was actually, right when they were getting ready to hire, he actually had to turn down the job because he had cancer so bad. And I got hired at 23 in Camden, and that's where I've been ever since. I had a layoff in 2011 because
The city went through budgetary
well,
issues, or
Christie did his thing.
Yeah.
And,
How long were you laid off for?
8 months.
8 months.
Yeah.
that had to be a tough 8 months.
It was, I learned very fast that the only skill I have in life is firefighting. You try to go get a job. And I bartended a little bit, which was nice, but, I learned very fast that that's the only skill I have.
Yeah.
And it was humbling. I'll give you that.
Mm-hmm.
But, it was like waking up every day of your life and get kicked in the balls all day long.
I bet.
Yeah, you get the dream ticket to the dream job, but I took a lot of tests in between there before trying to get hired at Camden, and I kind of turned a lot down. Like I turned Baltimore City down, I turned New York City down. I just wanted to be a Camden fireman.
Yeah. What was in your blood from the get-go?
Yeah, it's some slime green rigs.
When they went through their budgetary issues, how many guys were laid off?
So at the first cut, there was probably like 35 demotions and maybe 60 of us laid off.
Wow.
And they brought like 35 guys back within a month with a safer grant. The International Association of Firefighters got involved, and that whole thing.
How many are on the job total?
Yeah, it's just
We are, and I don't know this number. It makes me look bad, but we're probably right around 200.
okay.
Maybe
That's a huge cut, though.
Yeah, it was
significant cut.
The department was bigger when I got on. It was probably in like maybe 220, 230. We had 11 companies. We don't have that now. And depressed city, state control. These things happen. It kind of, not get into it, but they set themselves up for failure a long time ago, and
Sure.
I just got caught up in it. And I remember when I got laid off. I got laid off. My father, whose name's Bob, he said to me, "Don't take it personal. You're just caught up in something." And because a lot of guys were taking it personal. I actually tried to work my last day. A lot of guys called out sick
Right.
and said,
Yeah, if you.
F you, and
Yeah.
have a nice life. I I figured, you know what? I got this gift, and I want to go to as many fires as I can till the end day. And actually, my last tour was the day they laid us off, and I showed up to work, and they wouldn't let me work. And they said, you know, you're done, and we don't want you to get hurt on your last day because we can't cover you. And we marched and turned in our gear and things, and it was a very emotional day.
Yeah.
It's something that I will probably carry with me for the rest of my life. I love the fire service so much, having it taken from me is something that I can't even explain.
That's kind of what I was getting at. I mean, you just called it a gift. You had the gift of working there, right? You called. I mean, I think it was the word gift you used to call it. That you had the honor of working. I mean, that is, to me, just speaks to
and it
total
shows
character.
you how much you like the job, because now you can't have it.
I couldn't have it, and you know, especially that fire department. To me, it's a premier organization and with a reputation, and I was a member of it. And I worked in really good companies up to that, with great captains, and it tore me apart. It really did.
Yeah.
I think a lot of times too, because we hear about layoffs in like social media and the media and everything else, and people don't realize that there's a human end at the end.
No, they don't know.
You
I
know,
mean,
like there's somebody who's not providing for their family, they're out of work, and like you said, like you really find out that there's one thing that you're really good at, and that's being a firefighter.
I watched cars get repoed out of the parking lot. Guys lost their houses. I mean, it really affected a lot of guys' lives. Even the guys, you know, even though the guys got laid off, it was like my whole recruit class got laid off. Some of us got brought back in the first wave, but watching the captains get demoted, because these guys were captains for 4 or 5 years, and get demoted, and they're like losing their houses. I felt more for them than I did for myself, because like they were established for a few years, worked in a promotional plan for something, and to lose it, I mean, disgusting is the only word I can think of.
Yeah, and I mean, you're hitting on the monetary end of it, but I look at the psyche of it. Right?
Oh, it messed my head hard.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't even. I mean, you know, just the hear of a fire engine going down the street the next day, you know, or something you love, that passion that you have, because firefighting, you know, for some it's a job, for most people it's a love, it's a lifestyle, and so.
Well, as a volunteer, when you hear the horns go off, and let's say you're injured or something, you
want to get involved. Even when you're old, you see the older guys, like they want to come up.
You want to ride. You want to get there, and at least, well, what's going on, you know? And even if you don't have that, or if you were told, oh, you got a broken leg, you should sit a month out, we don't want you coming around the firehouse. Well, no, because that's kind of what you do, you know?
Yeah.
It's part of your life.
For whatever reason, during that time period, we went to a lot. City of Camden had a lot of fires, and these guys, I would give it to a lot of guys. I'm in a double house, and the ladder captain, Kevin Folkman, he was demoted. And these guys gave their all through that whole situation. You know, they weren't happy about what was going on, but when the tones went off, they did their job. And I think that says a lot about our fire department and the guys that work there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This fire in the picture here, what was the date, and can you tell us what that building is?
So, from what I know, it's a 1968 fire. Bob Bartos, who was the Camden Fire Department photographer, he has 2 books, black and white, red all over. He has tin men in iron helmets from Philadelphia. He was a Camden Fire photographer. He still lives. He lives in North Carolina now. This was actually an arson fire, was set by a draft dodger on Broadway. That's actually where you went when you got in 1968, where you went and if you got drafted, you went to that building to go off for your military service. And then he lit it on fire, and it took a while. There was actually a priest at the time in Camden who led a revolt on draft dodging, and I think that had something to do with it. But that was late 60s into the 70s and 80s was a tremendous amount of fire due for the city of Camden, and I'm a huge buff. I love the 60s. I mean, it'd take me back to late 60s as a fireman. I would give anything. Give me the flux capacitor, that's where I'm going.
That's fantastic. That's great.
Well, that was back in the days when you were allowed to eat the smoke.
Yeah, I mean, you were allowed to do a lot of things, and I just think it's cool. I mean, everybody.
There was no 2-bottle limit.
Calm and poised, and
no
just
bottle.
another day for those guys.
They're men.
There were bottles, but we didn't have many of them, so only certain guys got them.
I think it's cool. You see the Coke bottle, City Hall in the background. Cool thing about Camden, I think a lot of people don't know, that it being the depressed city it is now, Camden is the only municipality in the United States of America during the Great Depression that did not ask for financial assistance. They took a second mortgage out on their building to pay their employees. They never asked for one piece of government assistance.
No kidding.
Yeah, it was such a bustling,
Thriving city.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. So, in just for people, some people are listening through podcasts and not watching the YouTube video or so. Bobby was nice enough to bring us a black and white framed photo of this fire from 1968, and it's pretty kick-ass, and I love it because it speaks to what we're doing here. It's the tradition and the culture. When firemen were firemen, and strong as nails and so on. I mean, you can go on and on. But I love the picture. That's going to go right on the wall. For everybody listening, we're going to be the new studio is coming very soon, and for September with some other stuff we're rolling out. But this is going to go prominently on the wall. I have another picture here from Stan when he was here. Stan Kufel was here a few weeks ago, and we have that one that we're going to get framed and put on the wall as well. So absolutely appreciate it. Thank you for sharing that with us. But
so kind of moving on here, the tradition of what we usually do, we talk about your first fire.
Yeah.
What was your first fire?
So it's funny, I talked with my wife about this going into it. I don't know, what fire do you want? Do you want my first fire as an explorer? Do you want my first fire in Collinswood? Do you want my first fire in Camden? Where would you like my...
Start when you were an explorer, because that would have been your first real fire as a fire.
So I've been going to fires since I've been a child. My mom would pop me in the stroller and walk me down there to see my dad, and I would cry because I was scared. That's my mom's running joke, that I would cry all the time. I don't remember, so I can't take credit for it. But my first fire as an explorer was at Collinswood. Is a community just like the one here that I'm in. It's a beautiful, big houses, and it's a very nice community. There's a section with row houses, and it was on Conger Ave, and it was a bedroom fire. I was a fire explorer. I had my parents drop me off. You were only allowed to hang out till 9 o'clock. I think the fire came in at like 8:30. And I was there hanging out, and it was a bedroom fire, and I was just there changing cylinders. And I remember I wore my flash hood. They don't call them flash hoods anymore, but that's what we call them, right? Flash hoods. Because I didn't know what it was for. I had it on. I remember an old guy yelling at me for wearing. What are you wearing that for? You're not going outside the fire. I'm like, I don't know. I'm 14. I'm just here. This is great.
Looks cool. I can breathe the smoke through.
I changed a couple cylinders. It was a bedroom fire, and that was it. And I was like, this is awesome. And that was it. And I went to a bunch as a fire explorer, and my first fire as a volunteer fireman, I knew one of my friends, Billy Glassman, worked in the fire alarm room, and we had Nextels. I remember the Nextel. He gave me a Nextel click that there was a fire. He got a 911 call for a fire in Collinswood, and I left my parents' house, went to the firehouse. The career engine was out. I made the second engine. It was a balloon frame rear bedroom. I took the second line to the attic. There was no fire extension, but I felt a little heat, and it was, again, very exciting for me. And my first fire in Camden, we drove past the house on fire. Heavy fire coming out of the windows, and the driver drove right past it, and we ended up being second too. And these things,
all right, so let's talk about that.
There's this great bar down
Did he not?
street.
Was he looking at his phone? Like, what? How did you miss that?
This was before phones.
Yeah, right.
It was there was another fire in the city, so it was in a different district, and we weren't really sure of the streets. So I think we were all dialed into the map book. It was a 1 block street, like actually a real small green street, which is in Squad 7's district, and there's probably maybe, I don't know, 10 houses on the street, 5 on each side, and it was I mean there was fire blowing out the window. And I was like, we drove up the street, and we drove past Green Street, and there was fire blowing out the windows. I was like, that's the house on fire, Cap. And he's like, oh shit. And we went around, and we were second too. So
that's awesome.
Things happen.
Absolutely.
Things happen.
Hey.
Absolutely.
I was when I got hired in Camden, we had a 12-week academy. Came out, and they did a rotation thing my first year. He did 2 engines in a truck. So I went to engine 1, which are what I'm assigned to now, but it was different then. Fire headquarters then had engine 6, ladder 1, and engine 1, and car 3. And we had our on-duty deputy chief. I was at engine 1, which it was kind of a slower company then because of engine 6. And going to the fire, we drove past it. I was very, 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 very bummed out about it. But I just kept to myself. Stretched second line, they knocked it down. I was like, damn. But it happens. And after that, I went to ladder 2, which was down on Morgan Boulevard at the time. I did 4 months there, so it's like 4 months rotation. I was there, and it seemed like for whatever reason then, I was always the fast truck. It's like God didn't want me to go to a fire, it felt like. And then I went to engine 9, which is where I ended up staying for 4 years, and that engine 9 made me a fireman. The captain I had there, Larry Buckingham. I walked in there. he asked me how many fires I had in my year because he didn't, he was an old school guy. He was actually an Engine 7 fireman. I was like, not many, Cap, and he laughed at me, and we went to a fire on 27th Street, which is where the firehouse is at, 27th Federal. If you get on 27th Street, it's kind of messed up. The road's messed up, and we pulled up. We had smoke showing, and I got out of the rig. I pulled the line, and I tripped, and I ate the pavement going up the steps, and I cut my face like this. I put my face on and kept going. I didn't know until afterwards it was all banged up. And I remember getting to the top of the steps, and the truck captain, Andy McGee, who's battalion chief now, the bedroom fire was kind of like decaying. He was fanning the door for me to get a good fire.
Yeah,
He's like, get up here, Proby! Come on, hurry!
I can't keep the smoke going much
He was telling me not to be a pussy and get up there, and he's fanning the door.
That's
for me.
fantastic.
And I'm like, oh my god, he's fanning the door. I'm like, what is that? He's like, I fan the door for him. I'm like, I don't even know what that means, but now I know what it means, and I'll fan the door for any Proby they want me to fan it for now. But then that
that is awesome.
that was my first fire engine on.
What was the?
That's cool.
What was the? I'm gonna write that down. What was the first in Canada? Like, what was your first like you were like, yeah, this is legit. Like,
So
you were on the line.
truth
Whatever.
be told, I'd be telling a lie, but I told you I didn't think about quitting Canada my first year. I had a very tough time transferring from the suburbs to city. It was very, very fast-paced environment that I was not used to at all, and it was discouraging because I was making a lot of like rookie mistakes that I thought that I shouldn't be making because I've been doing this since 14. What am I doing? I was very hard on myself my first year. I would say my first fire where I realized it was legit when we had a 2-story middle of the road ordinary, really heavy fire on the first and second floor, and my captain Larry, if he watches this, he's going to be mad at me, but he's a very short man. And I remember when I met him, I'm like, this guy's the captain? And we pulled up, and he's short and skinny, and he's like, come on, kid, let's go. We took a line in, and I'm like, this place is fully involved, but in Camden, that's just heavy fire on the first and second floor. And we took a 1 3/4 in, and we went front to rear on the first floor, backed up, went right up the steps to the second floor, and that was it. And he pushed me the whole time. I had no idea what was going on. I can't believe I was part of it. And that was it. And I was like, oh my god. So my next fire was on Langham Avenue, another fire going in the Fairview section. So we arrived at the same time as a different engine, and there was a heavy fire on the first floor, and it was extended up to the second floor, and I went to the second floor, Engine 8 with Captain JJ, who was a great fireman. He had the fire knock. He was knocking fire on the first floor, and I went up the steps, and I plunged my right leg through the stairs, and my bunker pants came up to my knee. I didn't know it. When I got to the top of the steps, there was fire up there, and I put my knee down on the stairs.
Exposed.
Oh my god! I said it was hot. You pussy! Come on, keep going. Like my bare knee was on the ground. He shoved me in there. I couldn't. It's one of his favorite stories to tell if you ask him. But I remember when I got hired, my dad told me, he's like, I don't care how hot that fire is. Don't tell anybody about it.
Right.
Keep it to yourself.
Right, that's right.
And
That's right.
I'm just like, my leg, it's hot. He thought I was saying the fire was hot. I was saying my leg was burning. But I was a young kid. And, yeah. So that's my string of first fires for you. That's funny.
That's awesome.
That's
How many runs do you guys go on a year?
Camden City as a whole, I would say we're 10 to 11,000.
And
that's
your
what-
truck itself?
So engine 1 is the busiest engine. We do anywhere from, I believe last year we did high 14s. I think this year, if it keeps up, we'll probably hit 1,600.
Wow.
But we brown that company out every day. An engine is browned out on either side of me every day.
Which just makes your district that much bigger.
Yeah, it does.
I mean,
And
that's-
it's challenging, especially with probies and training.
Yeah.
I can't, to me, if you're an engine, if it's nice out, you're putting hose in the street every day. And sometimes I can't do it because of the brownout.
Right.
So it's frustrating. And we got a lot of new guys rolling around there with not a lot of fire experience. I mean, our fires are down because they knock a lot of vacant buildings down.
You know, one of the things I took away from your class was that you said, like, when it came to like training, like, work the guys for 20 minutes, but hold it up on that.
Yeah, it's
And I went back to work the next day, and I was like, I took a bunch of notes in the class, and I was like, all right, like, went down to Surf City, and I saw this guy last night. These are a couple things I want to hit on. And one of the guys was like, really, just 20 minutes? And I'm like, no, it makes sense. Like, you guys bitch and moan about like having to do training and then ambulance calls come in, EMS runs, etc.
Whatever,
But
yeah.
like, it makes sense. Like, do you really want me to beat you for an hour, in quotes, and then something real comes in, or you got to go like now you have to be in somebody's living room, taking their blood pressure and being like, hey, how are you doing today? When that chest pain start? Like, and it was just it clicked and it just made sense, and I was like, yeah, that's quality training, because we measured it on hours, and I was like, no, like it's like that's not a good way to do it.
I'd rather you get quality,
Yeah.
not quantity. And if I train these guys without even them knowing it. Like, we go
Right.
out and we drive around and we look at this, look at that, and that's
Absolutely.
They don't even know they're training, but it's just me talking about buildings, and I'm obsessed with building construction. If you know me, that's my thing. I love it. I love 18th century, 19th century building construction. I love it, and I'll drive around all day long looking at it. But I try not to do that. But yeah, I mean, I put hose in the street. We train on what we need to do as an engine. This is our job, first and second do. I feel like a lot of training guys do is add this extra stuff that you might not even use every day. Let me give you something you're going to use every day, and then maybe we'll talk about something that's new or whatever. And especially with younger guys on the job, you got to hold their attention span.
Yeah.
And I think being an officer, especially a new officer, that's hard to do.
Yeah, I think you said something in your lecture when we were there that really stuck with me about how you go to work every morning, and you have the same routine every morning. You get up, you get ready for work, you get a cup of coffee, and then
I don't
you
drink coffee.
I'm sorry, there was something. You do something in the morning.
I brush my teeth and I don't shave, but I don't drink. Just so you know, 'cause my dad's gonna watch this.
All right.
My dad calls me a communist because I don't drink coffee.
Because
I'm
you
the
don't
only
drink coffee.
fireman.
Right.
That might be
I know.
why the coffee's sticking in my head. But the point I want to make is that you said that every single day you go to work, you find a different way to go.
Every time.
And that really sticks with me, because I do a lot of that on my engine with my guys, and now that I have the seat mostly driving all the time for these guys, is when we come back from calls, I like to take the long way home, and I've preached that on this show and on a lot of our Instagram posts. Take the long way home. Find another way to go back to the firehouse after training, after a run. Don't take the most direct route. Find something to talk about and take a different route on the way home, because I think it's so important. And you pointed out that you like to see the buildings. You'll stop, look at the buildings. You'll
I
see
take a lot of pictures.
Yeah, and I think that's great. Even today, I was talking to Bobby today on the phone,
Yeah.
and he said, "Well, we were texting, and you were like, I'm gonna stop and take a bunch of pictures. You want to stop in Patterson, and you want to do a couple other things."
And any chance I get to look at building construction, I do. I've always done it. Actually, at my first captain, Larry Buckingham, he actually gave me the idea when I was a young fireman, and I kind of did it. And I don't always. I work in Engine 1's district. I don't get out to a lot of districts. We don't. If there's a fire in another district, I might not go.
Right.
So to me, if I can maybe cruise through there, I leave my house. Roll calls at 7. I leave my house about 5:50, and I live 10 minutes from the city. I'm in. I drive around for 20 minutes, do
Right.
my thing, and I go to work. That's
It's awesome.
You look at these buildings and see how they're adding to it and whatnot. There was one guy injured and another guy killed in a Texas fire about 2 years ago, and they said they had rolled by this building like all the time, but they didn't remember that they put other roofs over the top of it. So when they got in it, it was totally different than the way they were thinking. But they ride by it every day, and then after that. Now they look at all their buildings, they start talking about, well, has there been construction before that? Is it actually in our sheets? Do we have some permits for this? Is
Yeah.
it real? And people just forget about that. You get complacent, you just drive by things, and like you said, same way home each time. Well, you're not gaining anything.
nah, and I do go the same way home every day, but I come in a different way. But yesterday I had a fire in Engine 1's district, and when somebody told me the house was on fire, I knew exactly what house it was, and I was very familiar. It had no floors in it, and they caught that right away. And I'm happy they did. But it's one of the things you get a lot by just working the neighborhood.
Yep.
Parking the rig,
Mhm.
walking up the street,
Yep.
talking to people. I'm not a cop. I don't care what's going on in this neighborhood when it comes to that stuff. I just want to know who's here, who's doing this, who's squatting here, whatever. And if you treat everybody, my father and my mother have raised me to, well, whoever I encounter in life, treat them with respect that you want to be treated. And I try to do it in work all the time. So
Right.
I don't
Absolutely.
care if you're a drug addict, transient prostitute who there's a lot. Prostitution is very big in the city of Camden. I still treat you with dignity and respect. And hey, what's going on here? Do you go here? What goes on at this house? Because you might be the person that's laying there squatting in the middle of the night, and I got to come in and get you out. Right. That's the way I look at it.
Right.
And you know, I learn a lot from the people in the city. I learn a lot from walking around the city, and I learn a lot more being off and driving around in my own truck in the city.
You still have a lot of abandoned buildings?
There's a lot of vacant. You know, I call them. You know, we use the term vacant, but I use it very loosely. You know, there's a lot of transients that are in and out of the buildings, but yeah, they've knocked a lot of them down. You know, it's kind of caught our fire to you a little bit, but that's life.
One of the things that I got from one of the other things I got from the class that I was just really blown away with was the size of card, and it's something that I actually did. I went back and I did the whole. And then in the class, you said, what do you have? Location of the fire, occupants, where is the fire going, and what do you need to combat it? And like I've been an officer for 2 years.
We're about the same.
Yeah, and I was like, you know, and I was like, wow, like that's I've been like looking at CAN reports, like conditions, actions, and needs, but like this was so much better. Just and like I said, I made that card. It's in my pocket. I pull it out, and I have it now with me in the rig, so that every time I get there, and like, I mean, like I said, there's just so many knowledge bombs that happened in that class that you were like, you know, just dropping. I was just like, all right, and Jeremy's like sitting there like this the whole time, like nodding, and he looks over. He's like, what are you doing, writing stuff down? I'm like, don't worry about what I'm doing.
I'll tell you this. It was what I got from it, and I'm not a big like note taker. I kind of like to digest it, but ultimately what I got from it was it's street smart firefighting, and I think maybe we need to talk about that a little bit because we kind of talked about it off camera and off recording earlier about just the direction of the fire service, and I don't want to dwell on that, and we've talked about it a lot here. But what I do want to talk about is like street smart, common sense. I posted something today on our Instagram just about like booster lines, and we got some pushback on all of our social platforms. We get pushback about every, you know, there's always going to be people. But my issue is this, right? It's like I subscribe to the school of common sense, and firefighting is inherently 100% common sense, or maybe 95% common sense, 5% like street smarts or book smarts, right? So like I just look at it that way, but maybe you can touch on that because like the lecture you offer is street smart firefighting, right? I mean,
it's logical street smart
firefighting,
right? Because that was one thing where like building construction always trips me up, but he had a logical way of laying it out.
Absolutely.
And I was just like, all right, now I got it. Like,
so I'm the type of person, if I've taken building construction classes in, like I went to community college for fire science, I took a building construction class, I got to D in it. And I got to D in it because you're over explaining me things. Like, can you put it in terms that I can understand? And I think street smart firefighting is that, in terms that you can understand.
Right.
It's experience based. So you might take a guy who barely graduated high school, but he's a fireman, and he's been a mosman his whole career. He's probably the best mosman you're ever going to meet in your entire life because he's done it.
Right.
If you've done something, like my mom makes the best chocolate chip cookies in the world because she cooks them 20 times a year.
Right.
Right? So I want to learn from somebody who does something every day. Every day. And that's what street smart firefighting is to me. My card that I give to everybody, that I put on that's the side that works for me because I see people when they pull up to a fire, they look at the fire and they get tunnel vision. The fire is the last thing I look at if it's shown. Mm-hmm. That's easy. I know where it's at.
Right.
I'm actually disappointed, to be honest with you. I want to go look for it and have some fun doing it. Street smart firefighting is just experience, and not everybody in this country can get the experience that some people get, and I know that, and I'm very fortunate to have gotten it, and I try to share it with people, and a lot of people say you can't teach experience. I think you can. I try to do it every Tuesday of my posts. It's my experience in a nutshell, you know, and if you have a way of teaching it to people, they're going to understand it.
Yeah.
And, you know, street smart firefighting is just experience.
You touched on that, so let's just real quick, just a quick plug for you, but it's not even a plug. It's just it's a home run that you have your your Instagram handle is
it's Eckert _335, and every Tuesday,
right
between 7:30 and 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, I post Tactics Tuesday thing, and it's basically my wife Brenda Lee, she got mad that I plugged her, but it was her idea, and you know, I just put some experience-based stuff out there, And this month I'm covering search, which actually kind of pushed me out of my comfort zone because I haven't really been assigned to a ladder company in a long time, and I but I put it out there with my experience, and like today I did vendor search, and vendor search is like all of a sudden this dangerous thing.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about this.
Vendor search is something that has been done in America for 50 years. When somebody's going through a window and there's fire under them, I hope they're going through the window. You don't want them to go through the front door that's on fire. There's people in there, and you go through the survivability profile and all this shit. I don't know. I'm not God. You're not God. Let's get in there and search the building.
But what I liked about it was you talked about the I, right? So it's VES, right? It's always been VES. Now it's VEIS, right? And hit on it, because I loved where you went with that.
If I'm,
It's pretty
Did
awesome.
you see that? I thought it was great.
if I'm a truck guy, rest guy, whatever, and I'm going to do a VES, and I throw my portable ladder, I take the window, and I hop in the window, I sound it, make sure nobody's, nothing's there, no obstacle to overcome. Could be a dresser, could be whatever. I get in the window, and it's hot, and I don't know what the engine's doing, and I might be on the same floor as the fire. Yeah, I'm going to go to the door and shut it because that's common sense.
Exactly.
That's common sense to shut the door, because I'll tell you what, a hollow core door will hold back a lot of fire, a lot of heat, whatever. And I'm going to search the room and I'm going to get out of there because that's what I'm there for. Get it, search, get out. And they throw this eye in there, and like they want you to go in the room, bypass the search, isolate. It's confusing to me. And I'm a fireman. Well, I have a college education now, but I used to have a high school education before, up to 2 years ago. And you're throwing letters in acronyms that I knew from before. It's confusing to me. So the VEIS, God bless you, whoever invented it. To me, you probably didn't do many VESs to begin with. And here we
Could
are.
very well be. But the other thing that I've learned too, right, and so on, is that I'm finding more and more in the fire service we can't take for granted that because of maybe lack of experience, right, lack of street store experience, we take for granted that somebody might know they should isolate and close the bedroom door, right?
Sure.
That comes with knowledge. It comes with practicality, right? So on. So maybe these acronyms are getting longer because we have to explain further. And I mean,
They don't teach VES in Fire 1.
no, you're right, and they should. They absolutely right.
That boggles my mind. Could you take an 18-year-old kid who works in a bedroom community who went through Fire 1, and maybe a Tuesday at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, he's at a house fire, he could put a ladder up, take the window out, go in the window, and effect a rescue. Why wouldn't you teach that tactic? To me, it's a safe tactic. Yes, you might be above the fire, you might be on the same floor as the fire, you might be opposite the hose line, but if you know how to do it, and you're taught it in Fire 1 under fire conditions, whether you're Burn Class A, Class B, whatever, if you're given a little bit of confidence in something, maybe you're going to effect the rescue, and we're here to save life and property.
Amen.
I mean, I don't know what it seems like we're getting away from that. I can't believe Fire 1 does not teach VS. And when I went down to my county fire academy to teach Fire 1, I was mind blown. That's not a tactic. If you go to the Camden Fire Department, our working fire policy dictates a VES from the first two ladder company on both sides of the building.
Right.
Automatically.
Yeah, that's what we do. You ladder the front, you ladder the rear, and you're VES. One guy might take the door and go through the front steps, but there's a VES happening on either side of the building right away. Right away. Because it's a life-saving tactic.
Without a doubt. I agree.
And I didn't invent it. Guys use it every day. One of my best friends, Bobby Stollers, works at 58 Truck in the Bronx. That's what they do.
Right.
That's what they do.
Right.
VES. It's everywhere. I can't believe that we're going to throw another letter in it and we're going to make people scared of it. In the fire service, they make people scared of things, so we stop doing it.
And that's what we kind of experienced with the booster line. Like, it was like, hey, like, this is something that's practical. And this guy, I mean,
Do you know why they got rid of booster lines? Because they don't want you pulling them on car fires, because of people like me. Because I'm going to be the guy that pulls up at 3 in the morning and I say, pull the booster line, let's get the hell out of here. Because a car fire is a waste of time to me. It's no fun.
right.
I don't like. I love when I open.
It's a
my
nuisance fire.
I love when I open my first responder newspaper. Working car fire, all hands. I'm like, oh my god, come on, like booster line, and car fire.
But it was like we all of a sudden made a book and we're like, this is a booster line. When you have a commercial occupancy, pull this line first. Like, Yeah, I mean,
Where's
it was
the-
like, and it was just so ridiculous. The one guy
It was.
went off. It was crazy.
It was. Yeah, that shot. It was nice, huh?
Yeah, I wasn't there. I wish I was.
Was that recent? Today?
No, it was probably about a month ago.
Gotcha.
Like, what's like? Are there other common sense things that you see that's not so common anymore? Somebody pointed out, we're doing like the Facebook Live thing, but like this was like, hey, they don't teach common sense in Firefighter 1, and I think that's probably a whole nother topic. But
So common sense to me is like street smarts,
mhm.
which a lot of people don't have anymore. And it's that my wife and I talk about this all the time. We try to give our kids street smarts and book smarts, but common sense is a thing where people they're so engorged in their phones and
Social media right now?
Like
We're trying to go
right now.
live, that's why.
But people get tunnel
Are you
vision.
going live on?
On Facebook, I am.
Oh, you're on Facebook? You want me to do
Yeah,
Instagram?
probably should do Instagram.
We're trying to
This
get
is
to-
exactly what Bobby is talking about.
Yeah.
The problem, and we're.
But the problem is that his peeps, it's his people that want it.
They want it.
And he's got his fan club. But
Don't I can do IG on
No,
But
You
no,
can do it?
seriously,
Yeah.
it's
He's
this.
on Facebook.
I think people get tunnel vision. I think we
Mm-hmm.
get tunnel vision to fires. They see the fire, they get excited. Maybe it's their first fire, their second fire, whatever, and chokes out, and they're running to do their thing and whatever. Maybe they got a riding assignment, whatever it is, and they're gonna, overcome any obstacle to get to that. And
Mhm.
they might not be taking the best effort to get there. You know what I mean? Like, slow down. Let's take in the big picture. Like, we're the fire department. We're here. The problem's going to get solved. But a lot of people in the fire service, to me, we're getting away from these aggressive fire tactics. We're trying to reinvent the wheel here, to the point where, let's transition. Let's do this. Let's do that. To me, if I put the fire out fast, all the problems in the world are gone. Are gone. You don't even need to call the canteen.
That's the school that I subscribe to. Get the line in place and put water on the fire.
Just get in there and put it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get in there and put it out. And if you're the first due engine, your job is to put water on that fire. Get it done.
Yep.
Get it done.
Mhm.
I don't care what obstacle you have to overcome. Make it happen. And a lot of people have a lot of problems with that. I mean, look at basement fires. Basement fires are some of the toughest fires you're ever going to fight in your entire life. I don't like going to them. We all don't like going to them. I hope I never go to one again. But it's a tough fire.
Right.
There's no hard way to fight a basement fire other than to get down there and do it. You got to go through the chimney. You got to go down there, put the fire out. Somebody's got to be on them stairs feeding you line.
Right.
It's not easy.
Nope.
But guess what? This job is not easy. It's a blue collar thing. And this is what we're getting away from. People don't understand. This is hard work. You can take your master's degree, your doctorate. I got my bachelor's. I hope to get my master's soon. Everybody should get education. But you know what? At the end of the day, when there's a working fire, your piece of paper don't mean a goddamn thing.
And
Nothing.
firefighting is dangerous.
Yeah, that's
But
we're not delivering ice.
well, that's exactly it, brother.
Why not?
Like that's what I'm getting at is that people they start to from what I've seen with our platform and the stuff we're putting out there, and it's like it all comes back to common sense, but it also comes back to you know what? Yeah, oh, don't mount that there because you're gonna cut your arm. Like we're men. Like we're grown-ups here. Like firefighting's a dangerous business. You're gonna come back from a fire. You're gonna throw up. You're gonna bleed. You're gonna be bruised. You're gonna be sore. Like it's just a fact of life. Like you signed up for this, and people I think are getting away from that like brass tacks type thing where you know what, guys, if you're gonna go to a fire, you're gonna get the shit kicked out of you. I mean, it's kind of like I think we're losing that.
It also used to be, though, that people used to do things for themselves. So they knew how to work a chainsaw and a lawnmower.
Well, I agree.
And all
Mechanical
this
lights,
stuff.
right.
Where you get all these new recruits, somebody's mowing their lawn. They've never mowed their lawn. They
No,
don't
I-
even know how the
abs-
lawnmower works.
absolutely.
A chainsaw, you got to explain
Absolutely.
the whole thing, I mean, when I was 9, my grandfather was having me chaunsaw in the backyard.
Right, and
You tell them to
those
do
things
something,
don't
they think you're
happen.
talking about 50 Shades of Grey. What are you talking about?
Part of that though, right, is like a lot of firefighting. Not only it's a dangerous job. Yes, you also have to take initiative, right? Like we work as a company, but everybody individually has jobs to do, and a lot of it's done on their own. And you have to instill confidence into these guys so that they're willing to take that initiative, because nobody's going to take initiative without being confident, right?
That's 100%
Initiative, right? And so instilling, like you can train, but you have to make sure they're confident in their skills.
So
Please.
to touch on that, I taught Fire One for a lot of years, and I got into Fire Academy, and you got instructors, and they're yelling at these kids like it's like Marine Corps Paris Island boot camp, and not taking away from the Marines, they put out a good product, but I don't learn when you're yelling at me.
Right.
I don't. So
Right.
like, to me, if I have a new fireman in my company, the best thing I can do for them is obviously number one. The first thing I want to do is I want to beat them down from their academy training, because their academy training is just black and white. You know, I want to break them down. I don't want to build them back up. But when I break them down, I might be a dick a little bit, but I want to build them back up with confidence, because if I give you confidence in something, you're going to take over the world.
Agreed.
Even if you don't have experience in it, like, you know, we just in our fire department we had an influx of probationary firefighters in the last year and a half, a lot of them, over 30. And when I got my, I got 2 probies assigned to me right away, and I sent them an email, and I just said, like, this is the best job in the world. It's the most fun you're gonna have your clothes on, the whole 9 yards. But like, you got to trust me. So think about it. You don't know me from Joe on the street, but you got to trust me to guide you along this process of firefighting. But in that process, on the first day, I'm going to give you something to boost your confidence. Where if you don't trust me, maybe you're a little confident in what you're doing, and that is pulling line and, you know, racking it, pulling line and racking it, pulling line and racking it. At least you know what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
It's the little things in training. Like, guys get away from it so much that, you know, they over-engineer training, they do all this stuff. Build your guys' confidence. One of my favorite drills in the entire world is putting my fireman's gloves on, putting their face piece on, blacking out their face piece, and making them do things with it. Hose connections, whatever it is on the apparatus floor. If I make you do that, how much more confident are you with your gloves on, blacked out? Because we don't operate in vision. We operate in zero visibility.
Absolutely.
That's life.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what to tell you. And, you know, I don't make somebody do something I've never done before. It's something I do all the time. I mean, I'm in my office sometimes with my gloves on, my eyes closed, doing things. I'm that guy. I tie knots all the time. I'm a weird individual. I don't bring, when I go to poop, I don't bring my phone with me. I have rope and books, and I do weird things in the bathroom other than, you know, my phone.
I get it.
Yeah.
So
it's
I
also
do National Fire Radio. I mean, sorry guys, most of your Instagram comes from the bathroom.
when guys first put on air packs, if they haven't done any scuba diving or anything else, that's a real problem for them. They feel like
Sure, claustrophobia is huge, especially in Fire 1. You experience a lot. And listen, I don't like having that face piece.
I hate wearing it.
But if you take guys, let's say you're doing a cleanup around the firehouse, have them wear it. If you make your own air, who cares?
Yeah. It
Go
doesn't
through
cost
the
you a
whole-
thing
right. And then
to
you
go
get
through the bottle.
used to wearing it, and you also know how clumsy it is when you're trying to do stuff, and you'll know when your air's starting to run out, and that feeling that you get. And you're going to get that same feeling, even though it's not in a real fire. All of a sudden, you're going to have that like panic. You go, oh, you know.
The SCBA is the most used tool in the fire service, but it's the most underrated tool in the fire service because people don't train on it enough.
Yeah, they should use
we
it
go
all
over
the
the rip
time.
pack a million times.
Yep.
How about a regular SCBA? Like, who can put it on? Who can take it off? Who can sling it? Who can go through?
Yep.
You know, whatever. I mean, and the crazy part to me about the fire service is, like, we had a 30-minute cylinder. Now we're going to a 45-minute cylinder. It's bigger. My mind's boggled by that. Make me bigger. Why won't you make me smaller in 2018? I don't want to be bigger. I want to be smaller. And, like, train on it. Learn the parts of it.
It's good, right?
Seriously, I mean, what?
Listen, that, like, I had never heard it put that way before, you know. 45-minute cylinder is going to give us more work, but
Sweet.
in this day and age,
Great.
yeah. Why aren't you
great.
making me smaller?
Make me smaller. You're making me bigger with more entanglement hazards, hotter fires, all that stuff. Makes no sense. Whoever the president of the fire service is, we got to vote him out.
That's wild. I like that a lot. That's really good. That's really good.
Yeah.
So, anyway, so let's talk about a few other things. I mean, I love where we've been. We're talking a lot of firematics tonight, which we don't often get. So, I kind of just want to keep going with your career a little bit. So, you've been on the job now how many years, Bob?
I'm in my 13th year in Camden.
13th year in Camden.
16 in the pension.
16. Nice. Absolutely. That's good. What do you see, you know, the
Sticking my leg.
city of Camden, we didn't hit on it before. I mean, we've talked about it's a tough city. I know in years past it's one of the highest crime-ridden cities in the country.
Yes.
Not just New Jersey, but in the country. It's a tough town, but you said it's going through some revitalization.
Yeah, they're trying to really revitalize the downtown district, and they knocked down a lot of vacant dwellings, and got a new mayor who seems to be progressive, and a lot of like Subaru's there, a lot of industries coming in, which is good. I mean, after being laid off, I don't care if I ever go to a fire again. I just want to have a job.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Of course.
Unfortunately, it's like that, but yeah, it's going through. It's very different from when I started. And it's funny. I'd always make fun of the older guys, like I saw more fire in my day. And you'll see, and I'm not a guy now. The young guys, but I saw more fire when I was a fireman. It's like progression of the job.
Do you have old guys on the job?
We don't.
Yeah. So let's talk about that, because we get that a lot from a lot of the career guys that have come through the doors here. They talk about the job now, and they say that they don't have the 20, 25-year man.
We have a few. I mean, Chris Christie definitely did a number on the job throughout the state. He shucked a lot of guys out of the tree, and they retired. And
What does that do to the job?
Kills it. It kills it. Experience goes down, and it's. I never thought I would be a 2-year captain with a lot of experience. It's weird to me. And in my personal feeling, I still don't have a lot of experience. I'm still, every day trying to learn something, and it's just a personal thing, I guess. But it's weird. It's a weird feeling. You had when I got on, you had them 30+ years guys on. I mean, the guy Joe Cunningham, 30+ years on. This guy just loved going to fires. He left the job in tears. He did not want to leave because
That's heartbreaking.
But he had to go.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. He didn't have a
And,
choice.
and for everybody that's out there listening and watching in, a few years ago, the state of New Jersey pretty much forced.
They made a lot of changes to the pension and healthcare system and sick time and all this stuff, and it was either go or you lose money, so you had to go.
Yeah.
Right.
If you kept working past a certain cutoff, you were losing money.
And do you think, like, with some of those senior guys leaving, do you think that, like, kind of, because I know there's a lot of discussion nowadays on, like, fire science and fire flow, and, like, we're going to hit it hard from the yard, and that whole
Makes you
mantra.
fall asleep. Yeah.
And do you think that all had, like, that whole background, like, why? Because I think, like, I want to believe in the science, but at the same time, I'm like, Roger Dodger over and out, who served over 30+ years, like, never told me that was the thing to do.
I subscribe to science when it comes to like science, not firefighting. It's something that's experience based and we do every day. So I don't know if that had something to do with it. I think a lot of guys with a lot of more education than me got together and started a campaign to do this stuff, and I wholeheartely disagree with them, and I get in conversations with people, and that's fine. I think transitional attack is a cowardly method. Mm-hmm. And I can say it here because we're in that forum where you let me say what I want, but
Sure.
I don't know if I don't care if there's somebody. I can't tell you how many people I've seen pulled out of vacant burning buildings,
Mm-hmm.
and how many times I've had people say there's nobody in there when there's somebody in there.
Right.
So I don't buy into that stuff. But for senior guys, the older guys, that old generation, the 30+ year guys, they would laugh at guys like that. Those aren't the guys that are going to the bar on Friday and having happy hour with these old guys. They're the guys that subscribe to something different. They're trying to change the fire service in a way that, they make these young guys scared of whatever it is. Maybe they haven't made it always. I don't know their experience or.
Yeah. But like I hear all these things, right? We talk about flow path, transitional attack. Like, we did all this before it had names. Right? Like, transitional attack is just if you got to knock it down from the inside, but then you're pushing in. Like,
Right.
And like, I don't know what the.
I think in the class you had a video where you were like, "Hey, look, they take a shot at it, but then they're going."
Well, you showed that Philly video, right?
and it was
It's
awesome.
Which was, and I remember seeing that
2
before you
minutes,
showed it,
engine
right?
25 in Philadelphia. They pulled up to a 2-story end of the row. They had heavy fire at
It was
first
going
floor.
good.
It was extended second.
Mm-hmm.
2 minutes and 56 seconds. They knocked down 2 floors of fire.
With a single inch and 3/4.
And while they're getting the door open, he gave it a couple shots through the window because he gave it right there and he went right in and knocked it down. If you're calling that transitional attack, I don't think that's transitional attack. To me, transitional attack is hitting it through the window and then like a second floor window and then you're going to the front door. I don't know. I mean, is there anybody up on the second floor?
But my thing is, it's common sense firefighting. We fight fires from the inside out, right? But we have to get inside. So if the fire inherently doesn't let us get in there. We have to knock it down so we can get in there, right? So, like, this whole, like, and this goes back to the VEIS. Like, why are we making it? There's always been flow path. Flow path makes sense. Fires want to go to oxygen.
Sure.
Right? Fires don't burn any differently than they burned 50 years ago. They just burn a little bit hotter, right? But they're still looking. They're still looking for oxygen.
A little more
The heat
fuel,
release is a
less-
lot faster than it did.
Well,
back
it's
then,
synthetics.
you
I
know?
mean, think about it. If I came here 50 years ago, I mean, this is probably,
It's not wood.
It's not wood.
All right,
it would
calm
be a
down.
wood table, and they're
Solid wood.
We're talking
Nothing
about
the best
you
here.
have
This is-
way better beer setup.
Exactly.
But it's a fact. I mean, I
Right.
go lecture places in a hall. It's plastic tables. It's not like that anymore.
Oh,
Used to be wood and horsehair furniture, and your couches.
yeah, but,
and that
but
sort
talk
of
about
thing.
flow path. Fire wants to go to oxygen. If you take a window out at the end of the hall, fire inherently is going to go to the window at the end of the hall. Why are we making, like, common sense firefighting, street smart firefighting already teaches you these things that now we're assigning definitions to, right? It already, no, I don't know. I mean, you're rolling your eyes a
Well,
little
yeah,
bit.
there
but I'm
was a
just,
picture in the Fire 1 book that if you took this window out, the fire was going to go to it.
I just,
Fire one book.
but why, like, and this is part of what drives me crazy. We talked about this before with VEIS. Like, why do we have to reinvent it with cute names or definitions or make it more book than it needs to be? Like, firefighting, again, is a common sense job.
Sure.
Plain and simple. We got holes in the roof. Why? Because fire likes to spread upward. Heat rises. Smoke rises. That's why we got holes in the roof. Like, there's reasons for what we've done, tried and true, for all these years.
All these years.
So why do we gotta mess with it?
I think people want to make a name for themselves and come up with a new tactic,
Yeah.
or I think it has a lot to do with it. It's.
Yeah, I mean,
I
I wonder
the
too.
number
if-
one, the
Go
number,
ahead, Bob.
and I said it before when we were talking over there earlier. The number one message I get through my Instagram is, "Thank you for talking about these tactics," and I'm like,
Well.
thank me. I'm like, this is
every day.
firefighting to me. I don't know what firefighting is to you, but this is it to me. Like, and I've had people say, like, my chief won't bring you in for a lecture because it's too aggressive, and I'm thinking, is it too aggressive? What am I doing? You go in and put the fire out. It's
Yeah, I get it.
like the faster the fire goes out, the faster your problems go away. And any fire I've ever been to in my entire life, from 14 to now, when we're putting hose lines on the outside and pushing, we're hitting from the outside, the fire gets weird, we're there longer, canteens are there. Any fire I've ever been to is push. I have one video in one of my slides. I like talking about it because I'm a Flyers fan. I'm in North Jersey, and I talk about the Flyers all day long. I can't stand the Islanders, Rangers, whatever you guys like, Devils, Flyers fan. But
These Southern Jersey guys, man, they're all Philly fans, and like
Broad Street Bullies,
Phil-
bro. Come on.
Shut up. But like, we might ask you to leave in a moment. I'm gonna be honest. But go ahead.
the funny story about the
Half your followers are going to go out too, buddy. I don't know if you're looking at
they already know it about me. Like,
Yeah,
a lot
I
of
know.
our Penguins fans, they hate
Yeah.
me, whatever. But one of the cool things about the video is I was working that day, and it was like the first period of the Flyers game, like 10 minutes into it, and we went to the fire and it was wrapping the porches, and I was back to see the third period.
Yeah.
Like, I was back to see the third
Yeah.
period of the fire. It was that crazy because we went inside and put it out. It's not that difficult. It's not that difficult.
I agree.
I think people over-engineer. I think people are trying to take all the educations their parents spent a lot of money on and trying to reinvent something new, and here we are. I don't know. VEIS, flow pass,
I think a
transition.
lot of it has to do with also that 30-year guy that's not in the seat anymore and not there, that's putting his foot up, the 10-year guy putting his foot up his ass
I had
and
a
saying, get in there, let's get
I had a
out of
conversation
here.
about this earlier. My buddy Mike Retko from Hackensack. We were talking about 24-hour shifts. Like, a lot of people train, they go to the job because they have 1 on, 3 off, and they can have another career. Like, they're not there for the fire department. They're there for something else.
Yeah, their B job is actually their primary. Yeah.
Yeah, and you get that, and you deal with it, and you got a bad attitude, and
Yeah. That's tough. And I think that's, I can't.
Hey everybody, it's Rob from National Fire Radio. Nature called. We had to take a pee break. It's going to happen. But we're back. Bobby Eckert in the studio, and we're going to just pick right up on the conversation where we left off.
Yeah, I think, Rob and I alluded to it earlier that we sat in on one of your lectures several months ago, and we were taken back by just the forwardness of it and the street smart firefighting and street smart tactics and common sense firefighting. And you alluded to something that night when we sat in the training with you about an injury that played a real big part in who you are today, and it didn't happen that long ago, and I think it greatly impacted you. And I would just love, you didn't share the story that night, and I felt that it was quite emotional. And off camera we asked Bobby if we could talk about it, and I want to talk about it, and he is more than happy to open up about it. But tell us what happened.
So, it was.
Yeah, please.
It was January 31st. It was I worked 30th and 31st, and it was actually a career day at my kid's school. So I was due for career day, and I woke up. We had roll calls at 7 a.m. They put a 6 o'clock beep out to wake up. It was about a 5:50 in the morning fire at Kramer Hill section. Engine 9 was browned out, so I was the second due engine going out there, and didn't sound like much on the radio going out there. And it actually wasn't that much of a fire. It was a kitchen fire, and because of some issues there, I had to lay some line in the street to pick up the water supply, and I didn't even cross the threshold. I had no fun at the fire. It was not a lot of fun at all. I didn't do anything, but I had to pee so bad. I remember that I had to pee. It was like you wake up, you got to pee. I didn't pee. I went on the run. It was a full assignment. So I was. It was cold, very cold. It was January, obviously, and I was picking up hose. And I have a helmet on, which think how many times you've picked up hose without your helmet on.
Yeah.
I've probably done it my entire career.
Mm-hmm.
Might be like the second time I had my helmet on. And I had a piece of, we use 4-inch rubber jacketed supply line, and I had it over my shoulder right to the top of my ass. And for whatever reason, hydrant got charged. It was 200 foot to a hydrant on a 30-inch main. And it just came up and got me in the back of my head. I don't remember the pain of the impact. I remember the feeling of the impact. I collect fire helmets, so I love fire helmets. So I remember watching my fire helmet go that way. I remember my body going this way, and witnesses say I hit my temple on the corner of the rig, like where the radio is on the pump panel.
Yeah.
Hit my head there, and I got up and I radioed, shut the hydrant down. I've heard the audio, like, you can tell I'm messed up. I don't remember anything. I don't remember really anything at the impact. I woke up on the front bumper of the rig, and my eyes were closed, and there was just a lot of pain, and I opened my eyes, and I couldn't see anything. I was blind. And I had a lot of good friends working that day there with me. Brian Beach, Gabe and Jeremy. Gabe's my best friends. And I just said, Gabe, I can't see. And EMS was alerted, and they did their whole 9 yards. I got the collar, the whole thing.
Sure.
Went to Cooper Trauma, and the funny thing about it, so if you know my mom is a very boisterous person. The deputy chief called my parents' house, and my mom answered. He hung up because he knows my mom. He wanted my dad to answer. Tell my mom. Yeah, and Gabe notified my wife. My mom was actually surprisingly calm. They trauma naked you, so I'm laying there naked, and they gave me drugs, and I was on. I had no idea what was going on. I'm still blind.
You were conscious though?
Yeah, I was conscious. I wasn't blind where it was black. It was just blurry, and that lasted most of the 24 hours. It took probably a day and a half for my eyes to get back to normal. But I was in hospital for 14 days total. It was 8 days in Cooper Hospital in Camden, and I went to McGee Rehab in Philadelphia. The city of Camden actually, they afforded me such an opportunity of great health care. And I went to McGee Rehab. I was there 4 days inpatient, and I was in their outpatient program for about 2 months, rehab and trying to get back to the job. I love so much. It was a lot. My wife was 7 months pregnant at the time, so that was interesting.
Oof. Yeah.
And but I'll tell you what, she's the toughest person I know. She handled like a champ. She really did. She was a rock. And it was a lot. It was, the first day I was so high on drugs and air. I had 40 people in my the fire department. Somebody's hurt. All the guys were up there.
Sure.
It was a lot. And you learn who your friends are, anybody supported me there, they know who they are, and I love them, and it was a lot, but it speaks to something where you can do everything right in this job and still get knocked down. I wasn't doing anything that anybody hasn't done before.
Right.
Yeah.
It was just something happened, and I was on the receiving end of it, and
What was the official termination? The official description. What did you? I mean, obviously.
So we're
concussion fracture.
Yeah,
skull,
I had a major concussion. I mean, depending what doctor you talk to, how they classify it, but I took the hit in where my optic nerves are at. My brain slammed against the front lobe of my head.
Wow.
So I still have some problems with my right eye. It's weird. Like I wake up and my right eye has to focus. But it was funny. I was in this is gonna pain me to say on any venue where it's gonna be recorded, but I read Sidney Crosby's concussion report. That cowardly hockey player that he is. And
that's
as a Flyers
amazing.
fan, I'm struggling.
That takes a big man to admit right there, huh?
And he said,
Stance.
he said in his first couple paragraphs, he said
We just
it
lost
was
a bunch
setbacks.
of Pittsburgh people.
Yeah,
right.
They know I hate him anyway. But it was setback after setback after setback. I couldn't walk, I couldn't do anything. And I read the concussion report, and it said, get off the drugs. Like, he got off the drugs, and he was making strides. And I quit drugs cold turkey, because they really give you a lot of drugs.
Fog you up a lot.
And, I was getting Luvinex drops in my stomach was all bruised. And I quit them drugs, and within 24 hours I was walking. And I couldn't walk for 8 days prior to going to McGee Hospital. I quit the drugs cold turkey, and I got to McGee. Against the doctor's advice, did not want me to do it. Like I said, the drugs. I was like, I'm not doing them. And I had to sign a paper because I'm on workman's comp, obviously. And I quit them, and I was walking.
So for 8 days, I mean, you were bedridden, right?
I was.
Blurry vision.
It was. My pregnant wife
Can't walk.
I mean, it's funny story is, my wife was by my side 90% of the time, and her daughter, my kids, we have 2 different custody schedules. She obviously had responsibilities to tend to. So the one time she wasn't with me, I'm in my bed, and I'm like looking out the window. I'm like, damn it, my house is on fire right there.
No shit.
So I'm trying to reach my cell phone that is over there to call the deputy chief to let him know, like I don't want to call the board. I want to give the first 2 company give
him a heads up. Yeah, you got a job.
And I can't reach my phone, so I try to get up, and I go down, man. And the nurse come in there yelling at me. I'm like, the house is on fire right there. It was ripping. And
yeah, it's unbelievable. That is unbelievable. What a story.
Then I fell in the I fell in the bathroom, and a couple setbacks, but I couldn't walk. I couldn't process things. I don't know. It was.
Did you just talking about that? I mean, we're talking about a job and a career that you love, and to be laid up like that, right? I mean, that's
scared
really
It was. To be honest with you, I didn't think about the job. I thought about my family. I thought about the baby that was coming, and I'm like, oh my god, I can't even I got to be honest with you. Anybody that is blind, my heart goes out to you, because me not being able to see scared the living shit out of me, to the point where everything I was doing, from putting water in my eyes to rubbing them, nothing was changing the blindness, and it scared the shit out of me. I mean, I thought. I mean, I had 2 doctors come in and say, you're never going to work again. Like, you're not going to be a fireman again. Like, if you take a hit to the head, you get a seizure, and that's what they were really worried about, the seizure. But I couldn't drive.
Yeah.
Coming back, I get out of the hospital, I get discharged, I couldn't drive, and I had a driver take me to rehab every day, and I couldn't find a driving. You got to go to driving rehab. So, if you got to go drive with an instructor, make sure you can drive with all these bells and whistles in a car.
That's a thing?
It is.
My dad did that.
I'll tell you what, we should open drive rehab in Corner Market, because the one in Philly is backlogged 3 months to get on the list, and then
is this medically required, or
Yes.
did the state require?
No, it's medically required for you to go through driving
Do you have
rehab.
any brain injuries?
Yeah.
Hey everybody, Jeremy from.
Hey guys,
From driving rehab. Yeah.
Hey guys, it's Jeremy from Drivers Rehab.
We
We're
could
going to
do
be opening up
cash cab when we
That's-
do it.
You could
Cash
kill it. You could kill it.
Yeah.
So
That's wild.
Some sponsorship.
they're telling me dates to September of this year, and I'm like, nah. I got to drive. We're having this baby. We got
Sure.
kids.
Right.
I got to drive. So, City of Camden again graciously said, I talked to the the people who do work, all the injuries, and they're like, if you find a place that'll take you, we'll pay for it, but we're just not going to pay transportation. Okay, that's fine. So I find a place in Hershey, PA, and I call my great friends from the Harrisburg Fire Department, Jason Wood, Kyle Bird, and Nick Lindsay. And I call them up and I say, listen, I'm coming to Hershey for driving rehab. They're like, what the hell's that?
Yeah.
So, I explained to them, and there's a fucking nor'easter coming on the heel of me going to this driving rehab. Like, my wife drives me on 30th Street Station. I'm getting on this train, and I get on the train, I go, and I get to the Lancaster stop, and they're like, yeah, it's snowing so bad, we're doing a snow schedule, and I get a phone call, and I'm at Lancaster, like, they're shutting down driving rehab. Like, no. It's just didn't happen. I'm like, I'm on the way.
Yeah.
And I talked to the guy, he's like, if you're here at 6 a.m., I'll drive, I don't care what the conditions are. So I pull up to Harrisburg, I got a ladder 2 in Harrisburg, the hook and ladder, them guys met me, drove me to their firehouse, put me up for the night, and my friend Kyle Burton, he drove me to rehab that day, and in the snow, I had to drive rehab, but just the brotherhood again, of course.
I mean, that
It goes through deeply. Then I hung out at the Allison Firehouse all day, which is like going to heaven anyway. So
I'm sure.
yeah, so
Sure.
yeah, it was it was a very interesting experience. I learned who my friends were. I learned who my friends were. It's
From the injury to get back to, like, I'm sure there was progression throughout, right? So
Yeah.
Injury, you get out of the hospital. Now you have a considerable rehabilitation, I'm sure.
Yeah, it was a lot. I mean, they had me doing like a lot. So I felt like I was their guinea pig. They did like a lot of high impact stuff with me. Like, I took my turnout gear there, and I was on the treadmill. I was doing like all kinds of weird shit with my turnout gear on. Because they're and the gear rehab, they're used to seeing people that can't use a lot of their. If you ever have a chance to go there, you want to humble yourself about people's rehabilitation in life, like from strokes and things of that nature.
Yeah.
I was with a few people that had some serious injuries at work, and they lost half their body, and they could only use it was very humbling, but I had a lot of high impact intensity training to get back on it, and it was frustrating and good at the same time.
But you had incredible goals. I mean, you had a beautiful wife, family, child on the way.
I had to get back to the job.
You want to get back to the job?
Yeah.
Right.
But
exactly.
it's funny. I had old retired guys. I'd never even met their name. I don't even know them. I don't even know their names. They're calling me, "You better pension out, kid. Take this gift." Like, they're yelling at me on the phone. I'm like, Jesus Christ, I don't even know who this guy is.
Yeah, right.
Who you are? I'm like,
This is your golden banana.
Yeah, like, nah, I'm good. I want to do my 30 years.
I got an attorney. He's going to tell you
Yeah.
this is gonna work
So
out.
from
Come on.
injury to back on the line, what time frame was that?
It was 3 months.
Wow.
That's not bad.
It wasn't, and
No, I mean,
I don't want to do it.
No, but for what happened to
Yeah,
him, that you have to go
I know.
Yeah, you're trying to have a borderline
That's a
TBI to
it
go
could
back
have
on the
been.
job.
It could have been longer. I pushed it. It was time. I was starting to get nutty at home. You can ask my wife. We were tired of seeing each other,
I'm sure.
and it was a lot for me.
How was it walking back into the firehouse for the first time after that?
I cried.
Yeah.
I cried going to the parking lot. Yeah, I did.
I'm an emotional guy. I get it.
It
I get
was.
it.
I've already lost that job once,
Yeah.
and losing again because of injury and walking back in there. And to be honest with you, the support from the men and women in the Camden Fire Department, it made me even more happy to be a Camden fireman. It's awesome. It was good, and I'm in a better place today. I still, my right eye is whatever, and again, reading, I don't want to say his name, that Pittsburgh hockey players, I don't want to say his
That
name.
guy. Yeah, the guy.
Reading his report,
Yeah.
it takes time, and everything. There's no 2 concussions or same, and whatever. So here I am.
And it just was crazy in the class because I said, you had that picture of you up and you're just like, hey, this
I
is...
put the one of me naked up there.
Yeah.
I blocked out my goods, and it's for laughter. Laughing
But it was still that, like, there was that laughter, but you were still like, hey, this can happen. Like,
can happen to
I'm
anybody.
here in front of you, and I'm telling you, by pointing at the
you
screen,
can do everything
this is
on
what
the job.
happens.
You still get hurt.
Yeah.
And it was a freak accident, injury, whatever you want to call it. But I always thought like maybe like break my arm or something at work. I never thought I would have like a head injury, and like it was like and nobody knows. It was a lot of frustration. Like people are like, I don't know, doctors. I don't know. We got to see what happens. Like, Jesus Christ, give me something here.
Yeah, something concrete so you can make a plan.
But I will say the city of Camden, they were outstanding with my treatment. I can't thank them enough for everything they've done for me.
Awesome. Awesome. And then the brotherhood too.
God, I never was alone.
Harrisburg is a common theme that runs through this room.
Sure.
Deputy Chief Cowman, his son,
Works
Chris,
there, yeah.
works there. And I just Tucker, that was here from First Do Fabrication and Fire and Safety. He's got some nice connections there and friends there, and it just seems that I know Harrisburg is a fire city, and they do a lot of work there.
A lot of tradition.
And that's what I was getting at, is their tradition and culture there and love for the job just stands out every time you talk about Harrisburg. You talk about how talented and gifted those firemen are and firefighters are, and the pride that they have. And we hope to get out there and and do something there one day with them. And but I mean, how cool! They pick you up, they take care of you.
It was funny. I remember I got off the train and Kyle had a sign that said money. It was just fun. He's
right.
my best friends. It was good. It just, that's how they are out there.
Yep.
They would never not let me go out there and not stay with them, and that's just if I was out there and didn't let them know that, they'd be pissed off at me.
Sure.
So, it's
Sure. And that's the side too that I hope people are still subscribing to in this business, because I think a lot of that's getting lost, and I think a lot of the culture and unconditional love and support for another brother or so on is starting to get lost in this job.
So 2 stories. I was in McGee Rehab, and the Eagles won the Super Bowl, and the city was locked down. My wife couldn't get over to see me, and Philadelphia, the tour commander and the battalion chief in that local downtown came. I had no idea who they were. They came up and saw me and shook my hand. I don't even know their name to this day. They came up and shook my hand. It was unbelievable, and that they didn't have to do that. Right.
That's incredible, and it's stories like that kind of just reaffirms the whole brotherhood. It makes
the fraternity,
the
whole deal.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's wild.
Yeah.
What a story.
Yeah, it's but I'm
And that was this year.
It was
correct?
January 31st. Yeah.
So 2018. So I mean, we're only talking a few months ago. It's not.
Yeah.
What has that done to you on the line? Has it changed you at all? Has it?
No. I
back at it.
Yeah, I just wanted. It's what I wanted to do. It was getting that first fire, which because there was I went back. We had a vacant structure where I went through with my rehab team, and I went through a maze, and I started feeling my symptoms, and I kind of panicked. And I've never panicked in any type of entanglement thing, and I panicked. And I ripped a mask off. It was to me like getting shot in the neck. I was embarrassed. I went home. Asked my wife. I was emotional.
Yeah.
And I was like, what the, this isn't me. And, going back, I had to get that first fire, and I got it, and it was like
back in the saddle.
Yeah, it was where I needed to be.
Awesome.
It was good, And, you just gotta, if you're ever in that situation, just slow down. Because I wasn't slowing down. I'm like telling people, I'll be back in a month, and they're like, it's not happening. I was setting goals that weren't achievable, set achievable goals. I'm gonna walk first. I'm gonna do this first, and
Yeah.
But again, my wife, I wouldn't mess with her. Dark alley.
But my woman, my wife is
my woman.
My wife is
why, Terry,
stronger than me at times 10. I mean, it's they make us tick, so
Yeah.
I can appreciate that and understand that, and thank you for sharing.
Yeah,
that.
it's, if anybody, again, it's.
I mean, that's a career changer, game
Yeah,
changer, life changer.
it definitely changed my career and outlook on things and life, and I'll never be the same.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
But I think one thing, when we were in the class and you were like, hey, this is you gave us that brief snapshot of what happened. And I remember a guy in Poughkeepsie was doing hose testing, and a coupling let loose and kind of rocked him. And I was like, wow, that could have been him. And it could have been so much worse. So it's just
if I didn't have my helmet on, they said I would have died instantly. So. Think about that.
Do you have your helmet still? Is there damage to your helmet? And
No,
everything?
it better not be. I would.
Yeah.
If it was damaged, I would send to Ragtop Fire Helmet Restoration in New Haven, Connecticut for repair.
So let's talk about that real quick, because that's a buddy of yours, and he's a big Instagram guy.
Yeah, Pete Callan runs Ragtop Industries, and he does any and all of your helmet repair needs to a point where he takes your helmet like it's his own and does. His shop is amazing. He puts the heart and soul into it.
Firefighter.
Yes, he's on New Haven.
New Haven, Connecticut, right?
Yep. And he's one of my best friends, and it's funny. I keep saying my best friends because these guys. I mean, it's a circle you're running, and he's a great guy. He does great things up there. If you ever get a chance to go to a shop, which I hope you guys do one day,
We'll go in a heartbeat. We get the invite. We'll be there tomorrow.
It's really cool to see him do. He just does the extra touch to everything. He treats it like it's his helmet to the point where, even if you didn't send it out for this reason, he's going to fix it anyway. And, it's just another product he puts out, and Pete does the right thing. So,
and that, guys, just for a heads up, that's Ragtop Industries on Instagram. Just look that up real quick. We're already following him. He follows us. I love it. I mean, I love this community. I love having you here because the same names keep coming up, right? It's the guys that are doing it right, and we've talked about this, right? We talked about it off camera.
Circle.
Yeah, and it's so important in this business to just be stand up, authentic, be yourselves, and love the job.
Just
and
be
I think,
a gentleman. It's people try to stab each other in the back, and it's not about that. Just like you said, we talked before, staying in your lane, doing your thing, and Pete's Fire Helmets, and he sells fast boards too. If you're trying to plug that, but he does his thing. Stay in your lane.
Yeah.
What was it?
The fast board.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not familiar with it.
I'm not trying to plug it. He sells it. I don't know.
We'll have to go out and see it.
Sorry.
We're gonna have to.
Pete,
So
I'm sorry.
It's Pete, right?
Pete, I'm sorry.
Pete, send us an invite. We'll be up there anytime, brother. But anyway, I mean, what a fantastic night, huh? I mean, this was really good.
Crazy.
Is there anything that you want to hit on? Is there anything that we missed? I mean,
What's your pet peeve? That's what I want to know.
Wow, that's good.
Yeah. I like how every now and then I come out with a question. I look at I'm like the Katie Couric in this
Can you
guy.
be more specific and pet peeve in what?
In the fire service.
Firefighting.
And like, so like, all right, here, no, I'll roll it in. Like, as a company officer, what's your pet peeve?
As a company officer, I would say my pet peeve is people not taking the job as serious as it is.
Okay.
They come in and they think it's something, and they're taught something, and it's so much more serious than what it is. And I see it a lot. To a lot of people, it's a job, and nobody, you get cliche about death and all that and injury, but it does happen, and you got to be squared away. The job as a company officer is so serious. I don't think people realize how serious it is, and I think everybody is such in a race to get to that spot that they don't understand the fathom responsibility of sitting in that right front seat. I mean, you are in a position where you have to sacrifice for the people around you. You do. Like, that's your job. Like, and not to sound cliche, but like, that's my job.
No, it's not cliche at all. That's legit.
I have 3 human beings in my rig where I might have to put myself in a position where, you know what? I gotta put myself in danger to get you guys home.
Right.
And whatever that is, and that danger cannot be on the fire floor. That danger could be on a vehicle accident. Like, when I go on the highway, I leave my guys in the rig. Don't get out. These people drive like friggin' idiots. I always think of the 18-year-old girl. She's not looking at the goddamn roadway. She's looking at her cell phone. She's gonna slap the side of our rig and kill all of us. No way. Stay in the rig. I'll get hit by the car. You guys stay here. I don't want to do the paperwork if you get hit by the car anyway. That's
Truth.
yeah. No, seriously, like, and it works, in a way of danger of, chain of command, fire administration. If they're coming down on you, like, no, that you come down on me, don't come down on my men. Like, I take the hit.
Yeah.
I take the hit. And a lot of, if you're going to be a company officer, you better be ready to sacrifice for not only yourself, but your men. Like, I remember I got promoted, and my father, we wear like the light blue milkman shirts, which I can't stand. I wish we wore dark blue. If anybody's listening, administration. But
Somebody just asked crooked letters.
maybe they are crooked. I don't know. But if you're going to be a company officer, you better be ready to not wear that badge for yourself. It is not for you. Like, I got my badge and my wallet over there, and it's awesome for when I get pulled over, or I try to get $20 off the movies. My wife makes money for having the badge in my wallet. But it's not for me. It's for the men. It is for the men. Enjoy your promotional ceremony. Raise your right hand. Go get drunk that night. You earned it. It's not for you. It's for the men. And that's who I wear my horns full for the men. Like, I'll do anything for my guys, anything. And to the point where if there's an order that I think is poorly written and they want me to write a guy up and it's between me and him getting write up, I'll take the write up because it's your poor management style. You know, you got to sacrifice.
Yeah.
You got to be ready to sacrifice. And if you don't want to do that or don't think you can handle that, or you're doing it for yourself and you're doing it to be, Facebook fire department,
I hope it's still the norm, Bobby.
it's not. And
Yeah, I mean that's
it's
the
not. And the first time I ever rode the right front seat of a fire truck on a fire call was when I got promoted to Camden Fire Department. I never rode it on a fire call. I rode it like taking rigs here and there. I never rode that right front seat in any other aspect of my life. And I remember going there, and I had guys telling me, like, you're gonna be nervous and all that stuff. I was very nervous, but I was not nervous or anything fire-wise. I worked at Squad 7 for 5 years. It's the busiest unit in the city. Like, I felt pretty confident fire-wise. I was a little nervous I would make maybe the wrong decision or get a little too excited. I don't know. But, my dad really pumped me up for that first tour to the point where, these men, whoever they are, where I don't care who they are, I got to put them first. And, if you don't, shame on you. And if you want to put yourself first and your agenda first and your ego first, go be a cop. Go be a cop. Because their haircuts, you can go get one and look just like them.
I think one of the things that I got,
it's awesome.
one of the things that, when you're going about, like I said, pet peeve about the company officer, and it was from your class, it's all about credibility. This is what you said. You said about the company officer. It's all about credibility. You're no longer a worker. And you touched on that. It was something that actually struck me, and I actually started.
The hardest thing I ever did. I'll tell you, my first fire was captain.
Yeah.
We had a fire, and it was on Chestnut Street, and we had an engine browned out, and poor people trapped on the second floor, and I'm going to the second floor as hard as I could, and I had people stop me. I had the ladder guys stop me, and they're like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "I'm going to the second floor." And they're like, "No, you're the captain." I'm like, "Oh yeah, I'm the captain. You're right. I'm not going to the second floor. I'm staying right here because you're the fireman and I'm the supervisor."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You're no longer at work.
Your other one was lead from the front.
Always.
Know that you have zero limitation.
None.
And that was like for me, because I'm like sometimes I feel like I'm boxed into a corner about like, hey, you can do this, you can do that, don't do this, don't do that, like ask permission. And I was like, all right, cool. Like Bobby Eckert said it was all right to do this, so I'm going to go out and do it.
Yeah, always.
Take care of the men; they will make or break you. Don't depend on anyone. Make your company self-sufficient. Know what rules can be bent and how to bend them. I have a kinship with that one. Don't assign a task that you've never completed, and that was a huge one because you hit on that. Like that was one where you pointed on. You're like, if you're going to tell somebody to do something that you've never done, you're an asshole.
It's the truth. And again, it goes back to my father as a child. Like if I tell you to do something I've never done before, I'm an asshole to tell you to do it. And it's one of the things where I had a lot of good company officers in my career. I really don't think I worked for a bad one assigned. I don't think I was ever assigned to a bad captain. Actually, my first captain, I relieved him in the morning, and he's retiring at the end of the year, which is actually kind of cool. And he's a good dude. He knows the city like the back of his hand, and from every boss you can take away something. And I'm not the end all be all. I'm sure I have a lot of negative traits in the firehouse. Sometimes I just want to be left alone.
Yeah, right, sure.
Things like that. But when the bell goes off and you got to run for whatever it is, you got to take the run serious. Whether it's a gas leak, a seal run, or a house fire, people trapped. You're entering somebody's life where they felt the need to pick up the phone and dial 911. I've never dialed 911 in my entire life. I have no idea what it's like to do so I can't imagine. But they felt the need to do that. If you don't go in there and treat those people with compassion, you're the voice. You're the person they're going to meet. You're the company officer. Yeah. So whether your career, volunteer, it doesn't matter. And I go places and teach, and people are like, "Well, you're a career fireman. You get to do this and this and this." I laugh at you because you're a volunteer fireman and have access to your equipment 24/7. I have access to my equipment 2 days a week, 2 24-hour shifts a week. That's when I have access to my equipment. You can go to your firehouse on a Sunday night and rack line, pull line, do whatever you want. You can text guys, meet me up here, whatever. I don't want to hear your excuses.
That's a good way to put it.
Seriously.
No,
Yeah.
You're right. You're absolutely right. 100%.
It's sad that people have this career volunteer thing too. It breaks my heart. It does when I go out there and teach. Like I'm like, I really don't want to hear it. I really don't. And you know, I've been all over teaching, and you know, some people get it, some people don't.
Yeah.
You know, but you know, as a company officer, you either get it or you don't. And,
Yeah.
you know, everybody listening, everybody sitting here knows people who should not be a fire officer. Knows people who shouldn't be a fire chief. And the main reason they're not good at their jobs is because they don't want to take care of the people in front of them. They want to take care of themselves.
Which rolls right into the next thing of you and I.
You're the Carvalho.
Yeah, sorry, I'm not. I never went to journalism school or nothing. But micromanaging is a sign of weakness.
It is.
And you bend the rule for your men. And I worked under a micromanager before. And I, like when you said that, I was like, holy crap, that was a really horrible time in my life when I hated going to work.
Well, it's if I ask you to take the trash out, and I walk with you while you're taking the trash out, you're gonna feel a certain way. But if I tell you to take the trash out and I don't follow you, you're probably gonna like enjoy doing it. I don't know. Like my son Bobby's gonna be 9. His job is trash. He takes the trash out. I never follow him outside. I don't know what he does when I know the trash gets there because it's there when I go to put it out on the curb. But you know, I don't know what he does. He could meet a girl out there. I don't know. You know, it's
Right.
It's micromanagement is just a sign of insecurity and weakness. And,
Agreed.
And it goes back to you not knowing or doing a job you've ever done yourself. So if I asked you to, I need you to take a line to the exposure, and we got a balloon frame, it's running, it's going laterally, I need you to hook them seals, whatever, and I'm going to micromanage you doing it. That means I don't have confidence in myself doing that task myself. If that makes sense. I said myself.
No, I get it.
Yeah,
I get it completely. I get it completely. And especially in the managerial style, when you micromanage others, you're right. It's because one, the manager himself isn't confident in it, or two, he didn't instill the correct values and knowledge
100%.
into
and
his
it
sport.
isn't in the fire service. This isn't life.
Yes. Life.
This isn't life. Like,
Absolutely.
You treat people how you want to be treated.
Right.
You know, don't break balls.
Right.
You know, but for the limitations thing, and I say that in almost every class I teach for a company officer, you got to have 0 limitations. Even if you have limitations, even if you've never been to a basement fire, you've never been to a high-rise fire, you've never been to a fire field trap, whatever. Don't let your men know that you have a limitation in this. You got to be hard. You know, you got to be a stone wall and a hard man, because when you show a sign of weakness, when you're crazy, when you're freaking out, everybody else behind you is going to be that way. If you're cool, calm, collective, like a cucumber, everybody else is going to be that way.
The same way we're talking on the radio, you can tell.
I hate talking on the radio. I hate it. I can't
But
stand it.
if you stay calm, everybody else stays calm coming to the scene, no matter how bad it is.
Of course.
You know,
Yeah.
you
know,
can
There
always-
is a great video out there a couple of weeks ago that I watched from it. It was a law enforcement video, but it's going to tie in. It was a shooting that happened at a gas station in a minivan. The guy pulled a gun on the cops. He got a couple shots off. They shot him. So they got the
You
ballistic
like that
shields.
because you're a gun guy. You're really good.
Look, yeah, I keep self-defense stuff, so it was gonna. But like the thing that I got out of it was this senior sergeant. You could tell he was a senior man because the one guy, like it was his body camera, and he fired off a couple of shots. And he's still amped up. He's still 120 miles an hour, and like they're moving the shield, and he's just this guy was calm as
This is the sergeant that got shot and then led them going back to the van.
Yeah. And he's
Yeah.
like, no, calm
Yeah,
down.
He got
We're
shot a
gonna
couple
move
times
to
in
the
the
right.
body armor.
And he was
then
just,
brought
and
him
he's
back.
guiding them through, and he was like, and it was such a great leadership moment because, I mean, if you're getting shot at, you're getting shot at. That's life or death. And he's just sitting there like, nope, calm down, keep your gun pointed that way, and look, and we're gonna move in, and we're gonna be professionals because that's what we are.
That's how you gotta be. I mean, everybody gets a little excited on radio, especially when you have whatever in front of you. I mean,
Yeah.
everybody laughed at me my first fire where I gave a report as an officer. I thought the chief was giving a report. He didn't give the report. He thought I was going to give the report, but he didn't give the report. So I ended up getting on the radio and giving the report, and it was loud and fast, and I got made fun of royally for it. But, you know, it's... everybody's going to make a radio mistake.
Of course.
My father always says, you're not a company officer until you burn one down. Everybody's going to burn one down, too. You know, it's... Everybody makes mistakes. You're not perfect. Nobody's
Yeah.
perfect. Nobody's perfect. I'm not perfect. You're not perfect. He's not perfect. He's not perfect. Everybody's going to fuck up in this job every day. I make mistakes all the time. Do I wish sometimes I handle things better than I do? Yeah, of course. You know, I'm not
We all did.
everybody.
We all
It's
do.
life. You're a human being.
And not only that, but this job inherently, you're making split-second decisions, and inherently you're not going to make the right decision every single time. But what you got to do about the decision you make, how you handle
Well,
the decision.
and to go back to the limitations thing, like if you're not comfortable in something, if I'm not comfortable in something, in my life I've always sought out experts in that field of whatever it is, and I've learned things from them and done things from them, and bought into what they're doing and applied it to my everyday life.
Right.
Yeah, fire service.
Yeah. Now, can I follow up with another question, or are you gonna
No, go ahead, man. Go right through that notebook.
Come on, Geraldo.
All right. So the next part was tips for success, and so this is just great stuff. I'm not trying to give up this whole program here,
Okay,
too, but
sorry.
to check your feelings at the door.
Always. This isn't this isn't a Warminster Boys Choir Club here. It's the fire department, and I'm a firm believer that when they took the bars out of the volunteer fire service, we started attracting weird people. And you know what? At the end of the day, when you're a volunteer fireman, you had a problem with somebody, you went to the bar and back, you had a couple beers and you hashed it out. It's not like that anymore. You go on Facebook, you go on Instagram, Snapchat, whatever. I don't know. But I really think if you want to get your feelings hurt, again, go be a police officer. You guys can all have the same haircut. It'll be good.
And then the other thing was you don't know where you're going unless you know where you've been.
I love it. I have so much to say about all this, but I don't want to jump in. I mean, you just hitting this on the head.
Yeah, I mean,
You really are.
it's. I always, and I said to you today, I don't know where my career will take me. I mean, I've always wanted to be a cannon fireman. I always wanted to be an engine captain. I'm an engine captain. My dream in life is fulfilled, and it's amazing every day that I go there. And I always consider myself. I always get a little emotional going to work, and anybody watching call me sissy. I don't really care, but I get emotional walking to the back door. And I'm a little weird. I carry my Halligan with me in my truck, and I put my Halligan out, and I'm a weird guy like that. Or Pro Bar. It's not a Halligan, it's a Pro Bar. But I consider myself that 14-year-old kid from Collinswood, New Jersey, who was a fire explorer, and I'm still that pimple-faced, weird-looking kid who was awkward and didn't really know where he was going. And you gotta, if you forget where you come from in any aspect of this job, you're going to be a shitty leader, and people are not going to like you. You may have a $7, $8, $9, $10, $11,000 a month pension, but people are not going to want to buy you a fucking drink at a retirement dinner. And I'd rather have a $1,000 a month pension and have everybody buying me a drink at a retirement dinner, because you know what? My men's, what they think of me means more than anything, any dollar amount, more than anything in this job.
I agree with you 1,000%. I think legacy
Yes.
is so important in life.
Absolutely.
I would rather have a strong legacy and be known to be right and a stand-up brother than to be, somebody that ends up with millions in the bank and just walked over anybody to get there.
Absolutely.
And that's so important. I mean, it just speaks to character, but
Yeah.
I think that part of it is starting to get lost. And I think talking about legacy, I mean, I know like the upbringing I had, and you talk about your upbringing a lot tonight with how your father and mother raised you, and your values is directly because of the way they raised you. And I'm a firm believer. And I think that's part of what's missing today is just, ethics, morals, the right way to be raised and so on. And that's a whole nother conversation. But what I'm getting at is this, is when I do, I remember when I used to smoke cigarettes, I never smoked in front of my parents a day in my life. Camel Lights.
Nice.
Yeah.
What about you?
Yeah.
Marlboro Reds.
Reds. Oh, you're a tough guy.
guy.
Yeah, you're tough. When I was trying to be tough, I'd rip the filters off and just smoke the Camels. But I never, but here's the thing. I had such
Were they one hump or two?
That's a whole nother night. So the long story short of all this is the fact that I had such respect for my parents and the name that I carry that I did not want to disappoint them or make them feel less of me, because I felt that I was raised better and I should have known better.
So when I worked at Squad 7, I went there. It's probably, in my opinion, it's a covenant spot in the Camden Fire Department, and I mean it's tattooed on my wrist. It was, anybody who knows me is watching this, they know how I feel about sevens. But when I went there, I didn't put in to go there. I put in to go someplace else, and there was a spot, and I got a chance to go there. And I remember going there, and when I got my front piece and putting that 7 on my helmet, I just thought to myself, like, I remember walking in my first tour, like, again, I'm an emotional guy, I got a little emotional, and like, I will burn the back of my face off for the 7 on my helmet. I will not ever go I will go as deep as I can go. I will do whatever I have to do to be a part of this organization, and you know that has never left me. And you know, I am so proud to be a Camden fireman to the point where I've been in fist fights about it. And I, you know, people say on another vacant house fire, I will break a beer glass over your face. I don't care. Like, you know, those are my brothers. I don't care what you're saying. Let's fight about it. You know, and not that I'm saying it's the right thing to do, but everybody should have that passion about what they do, where they're from.
Hell yeah.
What's a belief?
Absolutely.
And it's a value, and it's close to you, and you're going to defend it. Like,
Absolutely. I mean, because everything I buy into this every day. This is my life, you know. It's my life. This job is my life, and you know, when I didn't have it, I was nutty, and you know, I got a little humbled by not having it for twice in my life so far. I haven't had it, you know. But you know, again, going back to the company officer thing, and you know, it's integrity, it's reputation, it's consistency, it's breeding good people. But you know, at the end of the day, if you're not for the men, if you're not for the goal, you are a straight up asshole who has an ego that should have retired 10 years ago, and the job is past you. And you know what? Good riddance. Good riddance. I'll never buy you a drink, because you know the fireman that I know, that because even if you're a deputy chief, you're a fireman. You know, if you're a fireman and you go that way, you're the guy who is taking care of people, worrying about people. You know, there was a deputy chief in my job, deputy chief Glassman. I mean, every day that I was in the hospital, he not only texted my wife to make sure I was okay, but it was in my hospital room every day. He didn't have to do that. You know, it's just, it's the little things that go a long way in this job, and that's what's missing right now.
Yes, sir.
That's what's missing.
Yeah, well put.
Now,
Well put.
one of the other, like, and I'm going to kind of roll them into three here, but like, you had respect the senior man, find a mentor or mentors, and then your positive and negative mentors. Like, hit on that, because I mean, I think that like we don't respect the senior people, because I think new guys come in and they're just like, oh, that's Tucker, he's the ex-chief, I'm not gonna listen to him.
We kind of talked about it earlier. You know, when the bell goes off and you got to go to the firehouse and maybe you miss the break, but there's that old guy that comes out. Like, I love the old guy.
Mm-hmm.
Well, first off, in our generation right now, he's probably like a veteran of a war. You can probably talk to him about that, which is cool in itself. But that pain in the ass guy who wants you to make him coffee, guess what? In 30 years, you're going to be that fucking pain in the ass guy. So like, one of us is going to be. Out of the four of us sitting here, it's going to be one of us.
It's going to be, yeah.
You know, it's probably going to be you.
Yeah.
Just kidding. But, no, seriously.
No, yeah.
If you don't respect the seniority, like, they fought these fires.
Yes.
Like, they went to 7 fires a day, where maybe I went to 7 fires in 6 months. And, you know, I'm bitching and moaning about being hurt or whatever. Like, fuck that. Like, these guys did it. They did it with less equipment, with 3/4 boots, rubber coats, corduroy collars, leather helmet, no hood, and they laughed at
Fireball gloves.
Yeah.
There was a guy in Detroit on YouTube who did an interview when he first got on the job, and he was just like, you know, I went to X amount of fires, and like these people died, and I came back, and like one of the senior guys like, you all right? And I'm like, oh man, it was a rough day. It's like, yo, you didn't have a rough day. Like, you had a day. The people out in the street had a rough day. You're here. And
the
like,
senior guy is usually, the real senior guy is usually the one breaking your balls.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, you can find some common ground with him some way, shape, or form. He doesn't want to be taken care of. You can find a way to take care of him, and, you know.
And he appreciates it and respects it.
He'll never let you know it.
No, but like,
That's his way.
But I'll tell you what, if you get him out of the firehouse and, like, maybe to the Christmas dinner and you buy him a beer, that's usually when he opens up. It's not going to be in the firehouse. But, you know, it's, the senior man is, and we talked about it in the career job in New Jersey, it's kind of going to be a lost thing. And it's tough, you know, but those old guys, even in your volunteer firehouse, the guy who, Halsey Watson, he's 87 years old, and he's a big pain in the ass, and he doesn't want to spend more than $100 on the monthly meeting.
Right.
Find out why he doesn't. I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah.
You know, it might be a good backstory to it.
And you're absolutely right. And I mean, that's why we're here. You know, I mean, that inherently, when we all talked about starting this platform, that's what it was about, right? It was about finding out what makes the senior man tick. How do we carry on their stories and culture and make this a go? And you're right. You're absolutely right.
You know,
I mean, it drives our business.
I miss a lot of the senior guys, and it's hard to believe that some guys in my class in my job are considered senior guys. I mean, they deserve it. They deserve the distinction of the experience, but you know, they're my age, a couple years older, and you know, they have a lot of time left on the job. So you know, it's a weird sort of thing. What were the other points? I'm sorry.
Finding the mentors and then, your positive, negative mentors.
So the finding a mentor is a hard thing to do because they got to want to be a mentor. You know what I mean? They got to want to be your mentor, and you know, sometimes you might have a mentor, you might not even know it, and you know, if you can find that mentor and push you in the right direction, it's and that's one of the things I try to do when I go and teach. Is I'm not looking to be everybody's mentor personally, but like maybe I can mentor you through one of my classes. And again, you know, one of my biggest things is making myself accessible to anybody who takes one of my classes or is on my Instagram page. You can send me a message, you can call me, you can, please don't call me, I'm not gonna answer the phone, but if you text me, I'll get back to you. Sorry. If you text me, I'll get back to you, and you know. So
no phone calls, people.
No, but you know, a mentor, and I told you this story before. It's the third time I said it, but like when I was 17 years old, I sent Vincent Dunn an email, and in 48 hours, the guy got back to me, and I almost had a heart attack when I saw the inbox.
Yeah.
You know, it was like AOL.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I was like, holy shit.
You've got mail.
Like this guy took the time to email me, and he's Vincent Dunn. Like that guy's he's a god. You know, I mean, he's an evil genius. But it's like same thing. Like you look like a guy like Mike Lombardo. If you see Mike Lombardo, sit here right now, have a beer, and you know these are the guys who you want to surround yourselves with. You know, mentors. You want somebody who is positive, has a positive outlook, who isn't pissed off, and you know has a negative thing. But you know, positive and negative mentors. I've learned a lot from the good mentors, just like the negative ones. Like I've learned a lot of what not to do. Like I've seen people make a lot of like shitty mistakes on fires, shitty mistakes.
You know, that's a good
things.
point. Though.
Like, you know,
you
like,
do learn from shitty mentors.
Like I'm like, dude, I will
no
never
doubt.
I will never do. I mean, I've seen some crazy shit on the job, and I'm like, I'm not gonna do that.
Yeah.
I will never do that.
Yeah.
You know, anybody you work with.
I never thought of that though.
Anybody you work with, you can take something away from.
Yeah.
You know, even if it's in the bed. But you know, and that doesn't go with officers. It goes with anybody. You know, it's and there's a lot of people out there that they want to. Again, we've talked about it all night, like the aggressive fire tactics thing. Like a lot of people are getting away from it. And they don't want to admit that they're buying into it because their department's not buying into it. Like there's ways to reach out. Like you know, people reach out to me all the time, and you know, I will try to guide you in a certain way, but you got to take it yourself a whole different direction. You know what I mean? So it's hard. It is, especially nowadays.
Without a doubt, and this job is changing. The career is changing.
I don't think a job changing. I think a job will always stay the same. I think the culture's changing. The job is 911.
I agree.
We answer it.
I agree.
And we are here selflessly. And I think people are scared to, not scared. I don't want to use the word scared, but people don't understand the sacrifice of being. We are the last thing between anarchy in the world. When I call 911, and maybe I am engaged in illegal activity, but I have a CO detector going off in my house. And I have kids living in my house, and I need the CO detector. I need my house meter to make sure I don't have any carbon monoxide in my house. I look to the fire department. I don't look to the police department.
No, you're
I
right.
look to the fire department.
You're absolutely right.
Because I am the last civil service between anarchy, and I take a lot of pride in it. I do, because I don't give a shit if you are whatever illegal activity you're engaging in, just as long as you're not hurting human beings. If you're hurting somebody, I'm calling the captain. If you're not, God bless you. And that's animals too. If you're animals, I'm going to call somebody too. But you know what? Have at it. You're dealing drugs, you're selling, missiles to whoever. I don't care. I don't give a shit. You know?
It's good. Hey, you're right. You're absolutely right. And we can go on and on and on.
We got to wrap it up.
We do.
I'm sorry.
Are you kidding me? We could sit here for hours.
Give me another beer. We'll keep going.
I did the whole raw though thing. Started asking questions for my notes. So
you dipped into Jerry Springer a little. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Does that make Tucker
Is that
Steve?
talking about Sullivan County or something? What?
Or more. You are the father.
No.
Nice. Wait, you know that meme? It says the tests are back and it rules that you are not a firefighter, right?
No.
That's how it's going. Anyway, thank you.
Yeah,
we're gonna wrap, but there's
good.
gonna be a lot more talk going on after this.
Yeah,
but I can't thank you enough for coming tonight.
Come back for season 2.
Season 2, absolutely. So wrap it up, Rob.
Everybody, it's Rob from National Fire Radio. Thanks for checking in. This is our part 2 tonight of our 2-part series. It's somehow happened here at Bobby Eckert in the studio. We got Tucker Daly, Jeremy Donch, also known as Hey Everybody, it's Jeremy from National Fire Radio.
Yeah, it's a ringtone on iTunes, 99 cents.
But we'll catch you guys later. Everybody be safe out there, and we'll see you on the next one. Thanks.
Take care, guys.
Yeah, thanks.